Okay, welcome everybody to the World of Ability.
Yeah, this is the flagship program. This is World of Ability Podcast Network. My name is Sue Roskopf, and we come to you live every Saturday, coming on in and getting to feature some wonderful folks, including our great guest we have today. And a little bit of reputation precedes him. Brian Lucy is joining us, and he and I have not gotten a chance to talk yet. So I'm excited to find out more about what Brian all does. And I know the connection took place through VetNet. So that gives me a little bit of a clue in the direction here. But Brian, so glad you're here. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, I am excited to hear more. And I got to say, I love your background. That was so fun.
Well, thank you. Thank you about that. Yeah, this was just some random picture I found on the internet.
It's fun. It gives that instant smile and happy vibes.
Yes, yes, it does. Yes, it absolutely does.
So, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us a bit about what you do.
Sure. So I'm Brian Lucy. I'm a real estate investor, and I'm based in Colorado. Um, I think the big difference between what I do and what I would consider what a traditional real estate investor would be is I use private money in order to buy and fix up the houses that I buy. The ones that need it, I should say. For the others, I don't need that. But I show people how they can earn a much bigger reward for their retirement versus what they are doing standard and what is currently the kind of norm for being an investor and investing your money.
Interesting. Okay. So, how did you get started in this?
Originally, I saw an infomercial at 2 in the morning,
Love it.
and that it isn't that all how all great stories start.
It does. Yeah.
So I saw an infomercial from a guy that is I don't think he's around any longer, but the tagline was "Get paid to go see houses." I love that idea.
Uh huh.
So I ordered the course, went through it, went and looked at a couple of houses, and unfortunately, what he didn't the guy that sold the course doesn't tell you when somebody asks, how are you going to pay for it?
That's a big question. That's a huge piece of the whole thing right there.
Yeah, yeah. Um, now, of course, this was in 2000, so the internet was still relatively new. Um, but there were systems set up with the way he had it. It was just here's all the information, go through it. Good luck.
Okay. That
So
sounds a little challenging in the end here. It's like, here's a great idea. Good luck. Go figure it out now.
yes, yes, it was, and that seems to be a theme with me because I had a couple of deals that I went and that I was looking at buying, and when the seller asked me, how are you gonna pay for it?" and I went, "Let me get back to you on that," and never talked to him again. At that point, I liked I liked going to look at houses because it was a really neat idea.
Yeah.
Decided I would get my real estate license, as one does. So I ended up working for a major brand for 17 years. The first company that I ever worked for, I walked in and they gave me a desk and they gave me the white pages, which or yellow pages, depending on how old we are, may or may not apply to some people. And they went and said, here's the yellow pages. Good luck. What am I doing?
Wow. That sounds hard.
It was extremely challenging for um the first like year to 2 years. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, and there was never really any kind of structured do this, then do this, and then do this. So I just kind of struggled my way through it, and I ended up helping, quite a few people, and making their lives a little bit better. And
Excellent.
yeah, it was it was very strange. It's just a very strange. Uh,
So if you could go back and rewrite things a little bit, what would have made it better then? And actually, and with what you're doing now, is that still in that realm exactly, or it sounds like you've turned the corner a little bit and kind of gone on a tangent to what you started with?
yeah. So what I did was I have done a lot of coaching with a lot of different coaches over the years, and everybody that I ever talked to, if they were just, a real estate agent or a real estate trainer, they said, "Hey, if you ever want to get into the investment side of it, you got to go talk to this guy." And I ended up investigating the guy, trying to figure out what worked. And he had been at that time he'd been in real estate since 1982, and this was 2000 something. And I mean, he'd been in for over 20 years at that point. And he had it all. He had the systems, he had the tools, he had all the contacts that I needed. It just it all made sense because he had gone through all of those types of things and figured out, well, what can go wrong. Let me find something to fix it before it does go wrong. So
Excellent. So it sounds like that was a something of a turning point for being able to figure all that out.
right, yeah.
So let's jump forward a little bit then to what you're all doing today. So how did that all turn into the investing side now?
So um, I left the brokerage that I was in 2019. It wasn't working for what I needed. I had some personal issues with the leadership, and so I decided that I would look into doing the investing side of it, because that's always something that I had an interest in, but I never had any kind of structure. That was why when I found my current mentor, and he just, like I said, he had all of the tools and systems that I needed. So I started looking into it, and I've paid a, a huge amount of money over the last 7 years for coaching and mentoring and systems and tools. And and every time he does a class monthly, and he always has experts that come on, and they can go and they tell you about their program and why it works and why it's better than, Joe Blows down the street. But I found a couple of them that I've worked with over the last couple of years, and they do seem to work better than, just flying by the seat of my pants. So
Excellent. So what is it that you enjoy most about what you're doing now?
as cliche as it sounds, it's helping people. Um,
I
it's
love that.
one of those things that I just I've had people that I've talked to that are in sometimes in dire straits, that really need help, and it's been refreshing because I've got all the contacts that I need to help them one way or the other, whether it be the friends of mine that are still real estate agents, or title company, or a real estate attorney, or that type of thing. So I have all the contacts now to be able to be more effective, to be able to help them.
Excellent. So what's the typical person that you find yourself working with? What's their, is there a kind of a standard profile perhaps of somebody that you're working with?
No, there's no real standard at this point. I've worked with military, I've worked with civilians, I've worked with um, not top CEOs, but I've worked with executive types, um, and just regular people like me. So it runs the gamut of on people that I've been able to help.
Awesome. And do you have some success stories that you want? Could you share some examples of what it is that you all do with them?
Yeah, so the I think the biggest one was, or the most impactful one that's been recently is I had a neighbor down the street of mine. Her husband had passed away, um, and he ended up passing away without a will. So she came to the house just absolutely in tears. She didn't have any idea what she was gonna do. Um, she didn't know what to do about what she was going to do to pay for the house or anything. And when I told her, I said I would help her in any way I could, and we ended up talking about it and based on what her specific circumstances were, I said you're probably just better off selling the house, because if you can't afford to make the payments every month, it's probably better off. You're probably better off just selling the house, taking the money that you will get out of this, and moving on. Because and she was in her late 70s, and I mean her kids ended up helping her out, and she's moved in with her kids, and it was just it was a process. I mean, it was really, we had to fight with the bank, we had to fight with uh, title companies, because we ended up finding out that when he had passed away, he had four liens on the house that she didn't know about.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah,
that's hard on many levels, actually, then. Wow.
yeah, and unfortunately, she didn't make as much on the houses that she wanted to. And when he passed away, since she had no money, it had to go through probate. Well, she couldn't afford that. And
Oh,
I wouldn't do this for everybody, but I mean, I ended up paying for her probate, for the attorney that we used. I ended up paying for it myself, just because I knew she was not in that space where she could, she couldn't pay for it. I mean, she was scraping up dollars to live.
wow.
So, I mean, I wouldn't do that with everybody, but for her, I mean, we'd known her for almost 20 years, and it's it was hard for her. Um, and when we ended up going to the closing table, she didn't get, like I said, she didn't get as much as she had expected, but it all ended up working out. She lives with her son now, and she's happier than what she was, and so yeah.
Oh, it's always a good feeling when you can make a difference for somebody like that, especially when they're in such I want to say such an emotional time, so many changes, all the things to be able to have someone they're doing knows, not going to lead them down a questionable path. You knew what you were doing, and that to be able to step in at that point is that was meant to be. And I can only imagine how grateful she is for what you all were able to do to help her out.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, it ended up working out for her. So I mean, in the end, it was still a good thing for her.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I know you've got a military background. Can I ask what a little bit about that?
I don't. I was never actually in the military.
You are okay.
Mostly my family was.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
My my grandfather, both of my uncles, my dad, my nephew. I think that's it. But most of my family has been military at one point.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know. If I could have done the military, the whole getting up at 4 a.m. thing doesn't work for
Yeah,
me.
with you on that one. Yeah, I never served either. I know my husband and I do a lot with specifically one military organization with Project Die Hard, but civilians. We've got family members who've served, but that was not a path that was calling me. So that's not where I went. We
So,
both were EMTs for about a decade. So we've got some, which I know from others that have served and have been on like fire department EMT, that kind of a role. There's been some similarities and parallels that I've had folks share with me, but obviously not anywhere near the same degree, right? But at least scratching the surface of relatability on what that was like.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it was just I didn't want to get up at 4 a.m. That was the biggest thing. I just didn't want to get up that early.
so well, is that then with having the connections with family like that? Because I believe it was through VetNet that you had and Kurt connected at some point,
Yeah.
uh, and I actually have not attended that one myself. Can you share a little bit about what VetNet is and what they all do?
So VetNet is more of a military style networking group. So they meet Tuesday mornings at 8:30, and for anybody that's in Colorado Springs, if you have any kind of basic military affiliation, VetNet does. It's 8:30 in the morning at what it's called Exponential Impact, and they have a lot of military that are in. Everybody that is within, with the exception I think two people, are all business owners. They're all entrepreneurs. So we go there every week. They talk about what's coming up, what kind of things that are going on with the military, groups that are getting affiliated with them. They have a what they call a I forget what they call it, military ops minute, where they have um, some organization in Colorado Springs that is either helping military or their families, or they are looking to help military or their families. And it's an interesting place. It's a fun group to be in. There's usually like 30 to 50 people that show up every day.
That's
Uh,
good.
yeah, they get to, as a business owner, you get 30 seconds to kind of pitch your business, and you kind of exchange information. If anybody helps somebody, then at the end of the group you can either announce some kind of, if you've got a like special event coming up, or if you've met with somebody the previous week and you want to give them a kind of a kudos. So it's fun. It's a fun group to be in. I've met some good friends of mine through it, so yeah.
Excellent. Beautiful. Well, and actually, I see we've got another friend that is joining us. I'd love to have him come on in and join our conversation. Dr. Harvey Loomstein is I'd say getting to be a longtime friend at this point. And have you two gentlemen had a chance to meet yet?
We
Oh yeah,
have. I love Harvey.
Excellent.
we see each other at the Quick Connects.
Absolutely.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that right, Ryan?
Huh?
Or is it the Discovery?
Great discovery, and I think there's one or two more.
Right. We run into each other, though not literally, frequently.
Excellent.
Yeah, that'd be a long drive. That'd be a long drive for me.
Well, that's fabulous. It's kind of funny. You always hear, such a small world. It really is, because with the circles that we all end up running in, how often we end up crossing paths with folks in different places. It's very fun. So, but Dr. Harvey, I was wondering, you want to go ahead and for anyone who does not know you that may be listening in, if you want to introduce yourself and share a bit about what you all do, and actually mention your podcast too, please.
Okay, if I can remember all of that.
You're all good here.
Okay, what we do at Biotech Institute is we help people live longer. And we help people live longer by fixing their immune system. Because people who are sick, yes, they do have a microbiome problem. They have that. But they also have, with that, comes an immune deficiency problem. Because if you think back, when we were younger, we used to fight everything off. And if you want to know about that, listen to George Carlin sometime and why kids in his neighborhood didn't get polio. And it's probably true. He swam in the East River. And that's where they dumped all the sewage and everything else. And there's truth to that. Your immune system is just like any other item or muscle in your body. You got to exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is we provide the basis for refluoridating and getting your microbiome back into functioning. And we do that first with supplements, and then we change you to food. Because we want you to understand that food is really what you need. Now, after 3 months, we'll know what supplements you need. But the way we do our program is we send you this package, and it's very easy. It's 1 pack in the morning and 1 pack in the afternoon. Nothing to count, nothing to measure, just take it. After 6 or 7 weeks, we redo the AO scan and see what the deficiencies are. You're probably not going to have to be on all of those for the rest of your life. God, I hope not. But what we'll do is point you in the right direction of food, because we're going to find out, and you can write this down. I truly may be dead by this time. I used to say that about autism, that autism was caused by plastics, but I'm still alive, and autism is caused by plastics. But we're going to find out that it's blood sugar that causes the illnesses, even if you're not a diabetic. And that's why people are walking around with glucose, with A1Cs at 6.5, 6.7, 7.2, and their doctors are telling them that's just fine. Well, it isn't just fine. And how we fix that is we teach you not only what to eat, but when to eat and what order to eat it in. That's very important, because what GLP-1 does is it slows down the time that your food is in the stomach. And that allows the GLP-1 to cut all those bad fatty acid chains that are 20 miles long into little pieces that can then be digested. That's what GLP-1 does. Our program helps you make GLP-1 in your gut. You don't have to take shots for it. So anyway, that's what we do. And we tell you within 3 months your A1C will be down to 6.4 or less, and off of your meds. We don't tell you to quit taking them, because your body will tell you to quit taking them. Because your body has a need to be healthy. And here's another thing. Your body has 2 defaults. Oh, that's what I was looking for. 2 defaults. One is fight. The other one is health, fight or flight. They're mutually exclusive. And the problem that we have in our society today, because of the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat, all of that takes a toll on your immune system. So your immune system never has time to reset. And when does it reset? At night. So if you don't put the right chemicals in, supplements in the afternoon or before bed, you can think of it this way: your workers show up, but there's nothing that they can do because there are no raw materials there.
Wow.
That's what I right. So they're there to work, but they don't have anything to work with. The other thing that happens is you put all the raw materials there, and the workers don't show up. That can happen when you don't sleep well, because at night it's by little thing. Those little street cleaners come out and they start fixing your cells. And when that doesn't happen, you get sick. And when that doesn't happen, you're in a state of almost constant inflammation. And some people are. And the way you can tell when you go to your allopathic doctor, he'll do a blood test, and he'll come up with a he will come up with a reading on inflammation. It might be C-reactive protein. It might be the sedimentation rate. There's a bunch of them. But what they're really doing is they're telling your brain there's a problem and we got to fix this problem. And the problem is what they send to fix it causes more inflammation. Because the only thing your body has to fight inflammation is two things: water, right? So when you swell, or fire, which are what the little cytokines are. And they go in and bang, bang, and destroy whatever it is that's there. Well, it gets to the point that they can't destroy it. And they say back to your brain, hey, brain, we're really in trouble here. Send help. And they send more. And you end up at that point with something called an autoimmune condition. That's good for now.
Excellent. I love it. That's a nice, easy to follow breakdown of what's going on there. Because that, gotta say, that's one of those things. Sometimes when people know how all the pieces fit together, they have a hard time communicating that so that everyday people can understand what's being spoken about, right? All this to make it easily digestible in more than one way.
Well, and the problem is when you say to somebody, look, you got these problems, and we know you have them. And if you were to take this powder and this tablet and this liquid, you're going to get better. And it's not a prescription. And they go, that won't work. Or I'm going to ask my doctor, and he's going to say, no, that won't work, because that's going to cost him money. If you get well, he doesn't make money. It's just that simple.
Funny how that works.
and we are taught, and I don't blame him, because he's just part of the trap that was set by the pharmaceutical companies. It's their fault. But here's the thing. You have to ask yourself, I ask people this all the time: how long you been going to Dr. X? Oh, I've been going 10 years. Are you any better? Oh yeah, I'm better. I can move around in my wheelchair now. Or guy's got a bad back and he's been taking this product for 10 years. He didn't take it, he's drinking it. Couldn't do very much. We gave him some minerals, and all of a sudden he could walk. That's the problem. People they believe what they've been told, and they believe what they see. And what they see on television. And it doesn't hit them, well, you take this for this, and oh, by the way, it's got all of these side reactions and contraindications, but don't worry about that. because that'll just create another problem for which we'll give you more medication. And anyway, that really is a pet peeve of mine. I mean, it's the people won't believe. They can't trust. In fact, in one of the workshops I was in this week, Brian, you may have been there too, but they talk about the trust factor on the internet.
Mhm.
And there isn't any.
That's a tough one. How do you know what to believe out there?
Yeah. Well, and it seems to me that, and I'm sure that everybody that has seen any kind of commercial for anything from a pharmacy, they have this whole, you're trying to fix this, but here's all the things that can go wrong, including death. And it seems like the side effects are worse than what you're trying to fix.
It doesn't affect me.
Correct. It doesn't affect us. Yeah, exactly.
So I had a lady friend of mine who suffers from pancreatitis, and her doctor gave her Ozempic, and she got pancreatitis. And pancreatitis is of the adverse reactions, it's number one. That's how you read it. When they give you those, the first one is the most common, the last one is the one that's least common. So you fight that, but even when people say, they go back to their doctor, oh, don't worry, I've got a better mousetrap. And people can't believe it's that simple. I always tell the story of my friend Joe, which is why I got back into this. I was tired of seeing my friends die from diabetes. And I was regulating his blood sugar for a while. And this is actually before I knew the science that proved all the stuff I thought was happening back in 1990. Right. And this was like in 2020. And I said, Joe, I don't know what's wrong with you, but we are not controlling your diabetes. And you're going to have to go see, God forbid, an endocrinologist. And I said, I don't know what's wrong with you, but I think it's undiagnosed infections. And they're not going to find them. So when I started on this, and he kept getting, I didn't know how much worse he was getting, but he was getting worse. When I started on this in December of 2023, I said, Joe, I want you to start this with me. Because in 6 months, you're going to be taking a car trip, road trip. And the first words out of his mouth was, I don't believe that. Now, he ordered all the stuff because it was there on his kitchen table. In March, I had my right big toe operated on. And I'm a diabetic, right? Been a diabetic since 1996. So I was on this stuff for 3 months. The guy said, you're going to be 3 weeks in a cast and 3 weeks in a boot. We went back after 1 week. They cut the cast off and took an X-ray and said, you don't have to put the cast back on because your foot's healed. Right. That made a believer out of me. That, somebody my age, health problems I had, my foot was healed. If that shows nothing else, it just shows good blood flow, which is the way I look at the world. That's what keeps you healthy, is your blood. Well, for poor Joe, that was the end of March. Somewhere around the end of June, we buried him. No, it was from the end of May. And I said to him one time, his housekeeper called me, and I went over there and I said, call 911. And I said to her, he's probably not going to come home from this. That was how bad he looked. And when I walked in his room, I said, Joe, I guess you decided to die. He said, yeah, but I didn't think it was going to end like this. How the hell did you think it was going to end? You know,
Wow.
it's sad. And I've got a couple of other friends of mine that died like that. Because people don't believe that what you eat has any effect on your body. I'll give you another example. We went and we met my best friend from elementary school, kindergarten, or first grade. And we're still friends. His son can't believe that. That's really, we're still friends. And what we meet since COVID, he lives in Houston, we live in Dallas. We would go back and forth to visit. Neither of us want to do that anymore. I don't really feel like driving down there, driving back. So we meet in a place called Madisonville, Texas, which is about halfway. And we have lunch. And when we walked out, I kept listening to him and watching him. And I asked him what his A1C was, and he says, well, it's 7.2. And his doctor said, that's just fine. And when I got home, or a day later, I said, David's really having problems with dementia. Why? Because he couldn't figure out how the cord for his phone, the big end, where to put that in the car. And that's a shame. That's a shame.
Yeah, it's hard to see that happen to people. Oh.
It is. But you know what? I can't say anything. What I have told them, with how you eat and what you exercise, your A1C should be below 5.
Wow.
Because he walks at least a mile a day, and he doesn't eat junk food. So there's something else in his body that's causing the blood sugar to spike. And people don't realize, but the blood sugar spike is, again, your body's way of fighting something, because it takes energy, so it's going to send glucose to fight the energy, or glucagon to fight whatever it is. And it's just chemistry. It's just flat out just chemistry.
So it's an alert system.
It's organic chemistry, and I mean inorganic, but not organic, and they don't teach that in medical school. I'm sorry, Brian.
Oh, I said, so it's an alert system.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't know.
And it's the same system that triggers when you eat sugar. When you eat sugar, it goes into your body, and two things happen. Your body, first of all, sends what? Insulin. Because insulin is what knocks on the door to let the sugar in, the glucose in. And the second thing, that's insulin resistance. That's where that comes from, because the insulin doesn't have any place to go. And the second thing that happens is cortisol comes out. And cortisol saying to you, let's go, body, we got to get ready to get the hell out of here. We got a real problem. Let's marshal the forces. Let's sound general quarters. But there isn't anything there that is going to force the fight. It's just sugar. And so when it doesn't work, it gets to a point when it doesn't work, you end up with it going into your liver. And what does your liver do with it? It stores it as what? Fat. See, it's just chemistry, guys. And you know who knows that the best? the pharmaceutical people and the food people.
Huh? Yeah, so that kind of goes back around to who do you trust and where it's out there, it's available, but who's paying attention and actually connecting those dots like what you just said? That people aren't slowing down to think about that and how it all relates, because it all relates.
I have a theory about that too.
So I actually, oh yeah,
Yeah, and that is we don't teach people to think.
oh that hits home. Yep.
We,
I work at
don't.
a college. That's something that we talk about. Yeah, that part of why students are there is they're learning how to think. What memorizing all the things is not the most important thing. It's a measure, yeah, but we need to teach them how to actually think about what they're learning, apply it.
Or if they're memorizing something, why is it important enough for me to learn it?
Exactly. What's the point?
Yes. What is that? What is that going to do for me?
Right.
Or how will it make me a better person?
Yeah.
A better citizen? Because you got half the population in this country that believe in magic. And I had a friend of mine. Oh, we're not supposed to talk about politics on here, are we? Are we? I don't know. I don't want to offend anybody.
This one we have a lot of latitude here, but yeah, as long as we're not polarizing too
Well,
far
they sent me, and I swear I've been doing much better in my life. My life has become calmer. I don't watch the news. I don't even watch the Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel.
Feel free. Go ahead and share your thought.
Yeah, I don't even watch that. But this guy sends me a meme, and basically it was, do you think that Kamala Harris and AOC would have done any better, or whoever it was? And I just wrote back and I said, when Obama left office, there was a treaty in place with Iran that was limiting what they were doing, and all of the scientists from the UN said they're complying, and they had satellites, they had people could go in and look, they were complying. And the first thing that Trump did, and then I said, do you remember that? And then what happened to that? And then the other one was last year, the last 2023, the Congress passed a bipartisan bill to fix immigration. Bipartisan. They were going to sign it. Do you remember what happened with that? I didn't hear back from them. I mean, people just, they can't think. They can't go back. They can't rationalize. I mean, you want to open up the Hormuz Strait? It was open. There were 100 ships a day going through there. There wasn't a problem. And everybody said this is just what Bush did. Only Bush, he either lied about what happened or he was given more important, he knew and he lied. But this is just Trump's unilateral lecturing. He and what's his name, the Secretary of War, they're playing army. Like when I was 8 years old, I used to play with the kid across our next door, and I took my toy soldiers and he took his toy soldiers, and we bought our tanks and our guns and we set it up and then we shot each other. And that's what he's doing. It's a movie to him. And by golly, people are dying. but people can't see that because they're just fed the propaganda, and they take it and they twist it. So, do you ever
Yeah,
talk
that's
about that
even
in
the
your
news.
class? Do you ever talk
Uh,
about that, or do they not allow you?
so with my role, I'm actually not in the classroom very much. I'm parallel to it. I'm the lab coordinator. So the bit that I'm in the classroom, it's not, it doesn't go down that avenue exactly, but it is the part of, just getting them to think things through and apply what they've learned and go down the road of, hey, you did this once before. This was the setting you did it in, but now the lessons you learned there, here's a brand new situation. How can you use what you learned in a different way, but still figure out how to get there?
How are
What
they the
questions?
same, and how are they different?
Yes. Yeah. How do you take it? So it takes it away from I memorize something to part of it is we open it up in the lab. We're giving them, okay, here's a scenario. Here's for example, we're gonna grow some plants. Here are some opportunities that you have in front of you. You've got some soil from different places, and what kind of questions can we ask? How can we approach this where you're actually asking a good question, and then how are we going to evaluate?
Are these?
You're breaking up pretty bad.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Frozen. Are we in the Frozen movie?
No, she's not. She's not frozen. It's she doesn't have a good signal,
Yeah.
and maybe it's because three sunspots or three waves just hit us.
Yeah.
That may be why, especially if you're out there. Do you?
Going
Oh, I
down that
think
whole path of getting them to think rather than say, here's our experiment, let's go. It's no, what do you want to create with? Oh no,
you
I should be
you're
getting signal
really
back soon, better here, but
got to get to a different part of the highway. Do you do,
right. If you wanted to react at all to
what kinds of what lab do you teach? What is that?
when I'm in the class, the only time I'm in is when it's just our first, typically the first semester introductory biology course. Once in a while, second semester as well, but it's usually just that first semester class. So they're brand new students for the most part. That's their first lab at college.
And did they have biology in high school?
I'd say most of them have. A good chunk of the students are biology majors, but that particular class is open that you could be any major on campus, and this could fulfill a science credit for them. So they have to take the lecture and the lab portion, and I'm just teaching in the lab. I don't do the lecture piece. That's somebody else's role. But that's where I'm very much a hands-on person. I love being in the lab and getting them thinking and talking and how can we approach things, and for me that's fun. I love seeing the aha moments that happen along the way and getting them to, like you've been saying, getting them to think about what they're doing, not just do it, but because sometimes you're given a procedure and say, here you go do it. It's like, no, before we get there, it's like, you got to make it up. What are we doing? How are we doing it? Let's figure this out together.
And why?
And why? Yeah, exactly. What question are we asking, and how are we going to solve it?
I tried to get parents Parents like to ask why with their kids. And when the kids answer, they go because, or I don't know. Uh, and they really ask the question of what. When you're looking at behavior, you ask the question, what? When you're asking the comparing question, you say, well, what made you do that? Or if you're teaching in the class, what kinds of soil do you think are the best kinds to use for this plant? And when you say, when you use what, it takes away their it limits their defenses. When you say why to somebody, it automatically why.
Yeah. It's like you're
But
challenging them.
right, but when you say what, okay, I don't know. Who knows what I did there, or why I did it, or what made me do it. But you can do the same thing with kids. And that gets them, instead of being defensive, it gets them to think. And that's the key. It's just, you don't, I think the problem is there aren't enough teachers like you who are really interested in watching the aha moment.
That's where I'm very lucky to be where I am. There's quite a few of us that are in that boat, and that's where I agree and I appreciate it.
You know, when we got married, my wife was teaching high school, and she taught high school social studies. And we used to talk about the life of a really good teacher was about 5 years. Because after 5 years, they didn't want to put up with the bull pucky. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
and somehow it's how I mean, there's a whole theory of personality that goes with how we structure time.
Mm-hmm.
Whole thing is deals with time. And most people, that's their difficulty. They have problems with time. Remember that? Use this time wisely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you're old enough to remember that, Brian. On your report card, when they would write it in.
I remember that.
Didn't like it, but yeah, I remember.
I don't know if they still do that or not because everything's computerized.
That's a good question.
I mean, is there still that little mark where the teacher puts in the grades? I know they don't do that in college. My son teaches in college. I taught in college from 1976 to 1978. And I would have taught more, but anyway, my cousin says you don't want to teach college now. And she's a full professor, and she teaches up at Texas Women's University, and she teaches her early childhood special education. So she says, no, Harvey, you don't want to do that. And not me, because here in Texas they can bring a gun into class. There's no rule about not bringing a gun into class.
Wow.
I had a habit of pissing students off, so I wouldn't want to be around for that. Not at all. So go ahead. I'm actually done.
All good. Actually, I was just gonna say, I don't know if you can hear, or is the background noise coming through, or am I doing okay? Because we're stopped for a train of all things right now.
You're doing
Well,
okay.
yeah, you're coming through really good now because you're not
Now?
moving.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, Brian, I'm going to just pass it your way for what any thoughts or reactions you have with the conversation here.
It's been enjoyable. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure. So you said you're in Colorado, correct?
Right. Mhm.
Actually, I'm trying to think back. Sorry, I know a question I was going to ask you earlier with VetNet. Is that a group that Tim Richardson was part of as well at one point? Because I'm just trying to remember how we had all connected with he passed away this last December, I believe. But we were doing a meeting with him on Fridays, a corporate prayer meeting that he had put together. And so I was just trying to think of that. I believe that might have been the connecting point was introduction through VetNet.
Yeah, I'm sure it was through VetNet. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Tim Richardson. The name doesn't sound familiar,
Okay,
but
all good.
I don't know.
Yeah, he was also Colorado, so I don't know if he was part of the in-person piece out there too. But
Yeah.
I always like
Well,
to try to
and
connect that when I can.
I've looked that up too. I mean, there's over 2,000 members
Oh,
that are a part of the group, but we usually have about the same amount of people that show up, every week. The same 30 or 40, 50 people that show up every week. And I keep wondering where else all the rest of the 2,000 people?
wow. Well, and I know so both of you I know do go out and do a lot of networking. Which groups have you found to have been good connecting points where you're meeting lots of people and has that changed over time too? Because I know different groups kind of ebb and flow. And Brian, where have you been frequenting lately?
So I'm doing a lot of the online speed networking.
Okay.
That seems to be pretty good. VetNet is pretty good. But I've noticed kind of the same thing. It's not always a huge amount of people that show up, but usually it's kind of the same people that do show up. So I think it just depends on the event. So
There's a group on Lineable that I belong to, and I've been going to it
mhm,
for a couple of years. It meets on Fridays at 1 o'clock my time.
mhm.
But I find that I will go there for like a month, 5 weeks, and then I leave and come back 3 months later
Okay.
because you're going to get the same people,
Right.
and so you you flip some. The one that the one that seems to be really good is Halea's group
Yeah.
on the Great Discovery.
Yes. Great
And
discovery.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what it is about her except her. I mean, she's a firecracker, and people come to that, and there are always. And the other thing we're trying to do is we're trying to get Gary Rogers' class at 3 o'clock on Tuesday. Hers is at 2 o'clock. Gary's is at 3 o'clock, an hour later, and we're up to like 40 or some odd people there, which is really good because you get to ask a lot of different questions. It's not networking per se, but it is networking per se. You just don't go off into a little room. Um, we have that,
I
and
think
you have this group on Friday nights, right? You who she might have frozen now.
there we go.
Froze for a moment there. I heard you say Friday night. Can you repeat that?
Right. You're coming in and out.
About Robert Buffett.
Oh, Robert Butlin's group. So yeah, we are doing a new event
with Robert Butwin on the second and fourth Friday evenings. That's at 7 o'clock Central Time. So, do you guys know
Oh,
Robert?
no wonder why. Yeah, I went there last week and I didn't, there was nothing there and I didn't go this week. But then my note taker came in
Mm-hmm.
and said there were notes. Oh, okay. My
Yep,
note taker goes everywhere before me.
kind of fun. So yeah, so
Yes.
the second, fourth Fridays.
I'm gonna write
So
that
I believe the
down.
24th will be the next one. And actually, Brian, that's one if you're interested and able, the link you're on right now is the same link for when that happens. So 7 o'clock Central on the second and fourth Fridays of the month. Um, and and actually, Brian, have you met Robert Butwin yet?
Yeah, he is. He's part of another group that I was going to uh, polarizing networking.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, is that Shahzad's group?
Yeah,
That's a guy you should meet. He's
you mean Robert or
no
Sajad?
Shahzad.
I've I've met
You
him.
don't like him. You have to kind of appreciate Don Rickles to like him.
He without getting too much into it. I've met him. I've worked with him a little bit. He's just he has said some things that I am not trying to think of a nice way of saying this. He's made some statements to me that he had no business saying, and I don't. It just it
I agree. I agree with you. I mean, but from a teaching perspective,
yeah
he has an interesting method to teach.
yeah oh yeah
That's that. And if you like Don Rickles and you don't mind being browbeaten,
yeah
he's a good teacher. So, I mean,
yeah I just
yeah, I went to a couple of his meetings,
yeah
and in fact, I said, you're an asshole
hmm
right there in front of the whole group.
yeah
That's
yeah
why we became friends.
yeah I just I
Got to meet him yet. I've heard of several renditions of feedback, but it seems like he's very successful with what he's doing. I'm
Yeah,
gathering that, but
yeah.
he's one of
That's
those
what,
get what you
and
get.
and if you grew up in a household where your father and mother told you how stupid you are all the time, that kind of approach could be very beneficial for you. It can, and I like the guy. I really do. I like him, but would I go there or would I go out to dinner? I don't know. I'd be worried about what he'd say.
I don't have a problem with him as a person. It's just I don't agree with the way he coaches, and it's just not for me.
Right. Yeah, I said that. I wouldn't go to him for coaching either.
Yeah,
But you can have an appreciation for what he does.
yeah,
And
And
that's
there
part of why there's so many different coaches out there, because different people need different things, and that's what it's all about.
and
I
that's
gotta
why they make Tutti Frutti ice cream because there's something in there for everybody.
yes,
love it.
There are people out there who are going to respond to him, and whatever we do, like with my podcast, we had a few more people there yesterday, Thursday. We're going to develop a following of people who will come not only just for the content, but because of the way we talk about the content. And I got several feedback from people
Yeah.
that they really enjoyed what they learned. They learned a lot. Maybe one day I'll even learn how to use a whiteboard. I don't think so, but I may. Um, so
There's a whiteboard on here.
yes, there is. Can it be used? I don't know because I don't know how to use it.
I don't either. I don't know how to use it.
And if you have to use it with a mouse, I think my preference would be to use text boxes
Yeah.
and write the stuff in. Because my handwriting is poor anyway.
Right.
And to use a mouse, oh Lord.
Yeah, I don't know how this actually works.
Well,
Oh,
it's loading.
so yeah, it does. It's just like a standard whiteboard, and
Oh, and
okay.
and you can but you can put a text box in.
Hmm.
I went to a seminar and that's what the guy did. He did the whole thing, and I was amazed. I went, "Wow, that's really neat."
Yeah.
And now, if I could just learn to spell,
Oh, spelling's overrated.
we could take kids who couldn't spell,
Yeah.
and when we got done with them, they could spell it forward, they could spell it backwards, they could start in the middle and spell forward, or start in the middle and spell backwards.
Hmm.
And it has to do with pictures.
Hmm.
And those were kids who had problems with auditory processing. I mean, we back in the 80s, Sherry and I came up with some really wonderful remedial techniques.
Mhm.
And so we were working a lot with a lot of brain injured people.
Right.
And where did you? Oh, Sue's at home now, and she's even going to get on the computer.
Now I should be. There we go. Wi-Fi. Yep, Wi-Fi's in now, so I'm in better shape now. So give me just a second here, and I will be actually plugged in and in a better spot. So hang on just a second.
Okay. I was waiting for Santa Claus to show up.
He might
Have
be
you?
coming yet. I know Marianne's here, and often Santa comes in and does a reading her chapter today, but I don't know if he's coming in today or not. So we'll have to ask Marianne if that's part of the plan or not. I'm not sure.
Brian, have you been to any of his readings?
John, was it John?
Papa Santa John.
Papa Santa, yeah. No, I haven't been to anything like that. I've just kind of
You should
been.
go. It's an hour. I think it's on Tuesday nights. It's an hour. And when I go there, I can actually smell the chocolate chip cookies cooking. And that's the point of a good storyteller.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't. I haven't been to any of his. I didn't even know that he had one.
Yeah, I've been sending his names out to all the teachers that I know, um, who are. I unfortunately don't know. He's looking for nursing homes, um, and that's one of the things I was into for balance. So we knew a lot of the nursing homes and rehab centers.
Right.
But he's got an idea, and what it is he actually has storytelling for people in nursing homes,
Mhm.
or storytelling for kids with autistic, living in group homes. But you also have adults living in group homes that are not autistic.
Mhm.
They're just they could be retarded. Today they might be autistic.
Right.
Today they might be. Um, but all of those kids, I mean, when you can start creating that memory or that visualization in their head, man, that is potent.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is really potent for kids that have problems, are people,
Yeah.
or people whose memories don't work so good because they're in an atmosphere where they're not required to think.
Right.
Yeah. And his readings are on Wednesday nights. They're at 7 o'clock Central.
Well,
So
thank you. Yes, he did. He changed it to that. I remember. Yes,
yeah,
seven
I believe
o'clock.
he's still using the Be Connected platform for that. Yeah, that's something where I have that radio show on Wednesday nights too. So I haven't been able to be there in person when he's doing his reading, because that's at the same time as when we're live on the radio here. And so that's where it's nice he's able to often hop on here and join us on Saturdays, because that's just a matter of it's timing, right? And actually, oh, you know what? He also does a live streamed networking event on the first and third Mondays of the month at 5 o'clock Central. So that's another one you can add to your list. And it's the link we're on right now. That's where we do it.
Yes, it's Santa's VIP podcast. So yes, every Monday and Wednesday, anybody can join us. I put a shout out to him. We'll see if he
And
joins us.
and
Hi.
and what time is that, Marianne?
Go ahead,
It's at
Sue.
5 o'clock Central. And I got to think, so it's the first and third Mondays. So it's twice a month.
Okay.
And I actually would have to pull up my calendar. I'm not a good spot for my calendar. Let me,
The 6th or the 20th this month.
there we go. So yeah, so yep, we just had it. So it is not this coming Monday in a couple of days, but on the 20th will be the next one. Perfect. And the link we're on right now is the correct link for that. So let me pull that up. So anybody who's listening and would like that link, the meeting ID is on Zoom 404-058-6152. Again, grab that pencil, 404-058-6152. That's our Zoom link here. And all are welcome. You want to come meet Santa? You want to get in good with him? That's the place to be. Mondays.
Of course we do.
I would have a suggestion, and perhaps you ought to put that on your website and send it out in your emails about
Yes.
all the things you sponsor.
Yeah, because
when they are.
That's perfect. I am actually working on putting that together right now. I have a calendar that is almost done. I have the few added shows that have started in the last, I'd say, couple months here. I still need to get populated, including yours, Dr. Harvey. I got to get yours on our calendar and get the official links on there. I'm hoping, I think tomorrow I should have some time to put the finishing touches on that. I've got most of the shows, but like I said, these last few, I think I've got 4 more to put in, and I'll be sharing that out, because that we want people to come and join in, right? So,
Right.
And actually, tell us a little bit about the show that you're putting together, Dr. Harvey.
We are putting together a show that talks about, it's called For the Health of It. And we're basically trying to create a situation or an environment where people can come in and learn about what's out there for health. And it doesn't always have to be alternative, because there are allopathic treatments out there. If you have got problem, that can be very helpful. But mostly we're looking for people who are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
And there's just a few of those out there, right?
Oh my goodness. Well, and I know you just had John Kennedy on with you, I believe, yesterday. That was I talked to him. He was on here actually with us last Saturday and mentioned that he was going to be a guest on your show. So did that end up working out? He was there?
It did. It was, and people, we had, like I said, we had a few more people,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and we'll get more, basically because we had 2 weeks to advertise it and we had it set up. I'm going to try to set people up for through the month of June, and then we can do that advertising, do it automatically.
Excellent.
Which
I
is,
like that.
yeah, which is what Go High Level allows you to do. I'm
Perfect.
sure Go High Level allows you to do many, many things that I can't even think about. They're not in my mind.
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
So
I've had an account for. I was telling Desi. I'm sure you probably know Desi. I was telling her I think it was last week that I've had a Go High Level account for over a year, and I don't I don't have a clue. I haven't used it in over a year, and we are sitting there talking about it. And she goes, "Well, just look through it, see what questions you have." And she goes, I'm basically an expert at it, so
Oh,
just
and,
ask me a question, and I'll tell you what the answer is."
and we all need that person, right? There's so many wonderful tools out there, and if you have somebody you can tap to say, "Hey, help me figure this out," that's what we do here with podcasting. Since we do this often, it's fun to get people started. It's intimidating when you don't know what you don't know and how does it work, and it's actually not that hard. So once you know, then it's like, okay, now I got this, I can do this.
Oh,
And
I'm
so
sure.
that's where I'm thrilled, Dr. Harvey, that you started a show. And actually, is that something you've ever considered, Brian? I always like to ask people if that's a thought you've ever had.
A fleeting thought.
Yeah.
I've tried doing Zoom meetings and stuff before in the past. It just haven't clicked yet.
That's where we're here. If you ever have that thought and would like to pursue it at all, poke us because we'd be happy to help out.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I guess I just have to become more interesting.
Well, I love that you said that word because that was something that we have a whole backstory on being interesting versus being interested. And
Yeah.
I think I love that you said that because I felt the same way. I'm like, how am I going to do this? How does this work? And I actually enjoy I ask a lot of questions and try to learn as much as I can from the people that come on here. And I have learned so much. I've learned, and I've gotten amazing opportunities to meet folks that I would not have otherwise had the privilege of meeting. And it's been fun to put it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun.
I mean, I suppose I could do. I suppose I could do that and just do something with every member of VetNet for the next 10 years.
Wouldn't that be amazing? And
Yeah.
oh, that could be actually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Great way to it's almost a glorified version of a one-on-one.
Right.
Just taking it to a different level on that. And give it some thought.
Yeah. Like I said, I've had fleeting thoughts about it. The equipment I'm not sure about. I don't know. I've had fleeting thoughts about it.
So, Dr. Harvey, how hard was it for you to get started?
As soon as I remembered to click on the sound button, it was easy.
There we go. Yep.
I mean, it's not that you have a Zoom connection, and you let Emily be the host.
Yeah.
And you just sit there and talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing with pushing buttons and making the magic happen in the background.
Right. And pray either of you or neither of you run out of things to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's
You know,
always good to have some questions
Yeah.
in the back of your mind about what you want to ask the person. Like with John, I really didn't know how he did what he did.
Ah,
Maury, I understood it. You know, that wasn't because I was using that technology. What evolved into that technology?
okay.
Uh, but it's good if you can increase awareness. We used to treat brain injured people. We would use computers. We actually had computers back then. Weren't much, weren't fast, but we could actually teach them tracking with their eyes. And then we would do sort of a thing like speed reading. You would call it the tiscoscope. Tatiscoscope.
Wow.
And the words would just come by and you would have them look at it. And what you were really doing was training attention. Now, we also did that with EEG biofeedback. And I would say that once they learned it, it didn't go away. But his way of learning it, I think, is easier, forgive me, my fellow brethren, than EEG biofeedback.
You know, if
Because
we got something that works, that's beautiful. The easier it is, the simpler it is, the more likely people are going to do it and stick with it and make the most of the tool.
You know, it's funny to me because speaking of that, of speed reading, when I was talking to Desi, like I said this week, I don't know, we got off on some tangent, and she said something about she had read a book over the previous day. I said, "Oh, well, yeah. How many pages did you read?" She goes, "I read the entire book." And it was like 300 or 400 pages. I'm like, wait a minute, how did you do that?" She goes, "I've been able to do that for decades." She said, "I when I was a kid, I was reading at college level in the first grade." And she says, I can sit down and read a book, in one day, and just I said, is it speed reading? What is it?" She goes, "I don't know what it is." She said,
she she takes a picture of the page
yeah,
as she flips it.
yeah. And it's amazing. I would love to be able to learn something like that because I've got so many books that, you know, marketing, networking, learning how to be a better person, those types of things.
Mhm.
I'd love to be able to learn something like that.
Do you learn better by visual or hearing?
I'm visual. I'm kinesthetic.
That's why Montessori works. Montessori, when we used to get kids who had significant learning problems
Right.
and behavior problems, we would always encourage the parents to enroll them in a Montessori school. And that was because Montessori was see, touch, and hear. And there are people that learn by listening,
Yeah.
or they learn by reading, or they learn by touching, or they need all three.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when I was first in graduate school, the guy was the dean or the assistant dean. And he said, "Well, I guess you all in here are visual learners." Not me. I learned by listening.
Yeah. It just amazes me. I actually learn better by actually doing it. Um, I do learn visually, but I would rather be able to do it. For me, that's easier because then I have a physical way of, a system or whatever to be able to do it. And to me, it's just for me, it's easier because then
But
I
that's
can
how
go back to what I've
that
done.
That's how your brain processes information, and that's an important thing to learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and we don't teach that in school.
Yeah.
We don't teach kids in elementary school how to learn. We think all the kids learn the same way until they get into special ed and they do an evaluation and they go, oh, well, you need to learn like this. And anyway, I don't want to go there anyway, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's good that you know that you know that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's like I said, that's something I've known about myself for decades, just because it's when I was going through high school, it was the same model where we'll read you the information here, read the information, we're gonna write it up on the chalkboard, and there you go. You've just learned X, Y, or Z. And I was a miserable student. I mean, I think I don't think I didn't do real well in school, but I mean, I wasn't, a D or F student, but yeah.
Yeah, sort of knowing yourself well enough, and for it to have the people around, the teachers, to be able to guide people. 'Cause when you're a little kid, you don't know. You're there to learn, and to have people that can actually help guide that and be like, oh, okay, this is how you learn better. And the person sitting next to you, you might not learn the same way, and that's okay. That's like mind blowing. That was not a thought when I was a kid that I remember. It was, here it is, learn it, move on.
Does that, do you think that you see college kids, so you're seeing kids 18, 19, 20 years old, do you think they actually understand the process?
I would say for the most part, I don't think so, because that's something, you hear they want to stay up till 3 a.m. cramming for that test, or what, that is something that specifically our program, as freshmen are coming in, they have a meeting with them before classes even start. And they go through some of those thoughts, like, that's not how you learn. That's not, you might be catching a few of the pieces you might need for that one moment that you need it, but not that it's going to be something that sticks long term. If you're actually trying to learn this, you got to prioritize your sleep. You got to be able to do things in a way that's going to be effective, not just memorize, but there's different ways of going about it. And they actually have good programs on campus with student-led instruction and extra sessions you can go to where you can have peer mentors. You can have, there's study groups. There's different ways to go about it that is beyond what you've maybe considered before. And it's worth pursuing to see what works best for you so that you can actually learn the material.
What works best for you? And my son developed through high school and in through college, he used flashcards.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And that worked for him.
Yeah.
So you should encourage your students to do that, to experiment with different ways of learning to find out what works best for you.
Exactly. Oh, you know what? I didn't realize until just now here, Santa Papa John was in the waiting room. Santa, I'm so sorry. It didn't bing me to tell me that. It usually my maybe being on my phone instead of my computer has been a little different. So I'm so sorry to keep you waiting.
I see how you are. You forgot about me. You were ignoring me. I'll send Dr. Hardy after you.
Well, was she being naughty or nice? Does she get on the coal list already here for the first?
She's gonna have to steal some of her husband's, because her husband gets by the truckloads. Here, I'll move the microphone so you can actually hear me now. How's everybody doing today?
Better that you're here now.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that, Dr.
We've been highly.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
I'm good. You?
I've had, some good start to my day, and I've got created some new images. And boy, when you have a good argument with your chatbot, it starts your day off really good. It gets the adrenaline flowing.
Love it.
Yeah, well, Santa Papa John, we were talking about you and your schedule, your Santa Papa John VIP calendar, and Dr. Harvey was interested. We've heard you shifted Tuesdays to Wednesdays to story time, and well, today is our Saturday book club, and we're so
Yes.
excited for you to be here, and we will be reading chapter 3. So if you want to get the book out, and Sue, if you could be kind and play the Cool Water Foundation book trailer. So our audience will know that this book is dedicated to Leon McLaughlin. We're introducing some new characters, which are
That
folk
one, right?
manners puppets. Yes, we're on
There we
chapter
go.
3, Water is Life. And Santa, last chapter, not only did we read the chapter, we had a beautiful song video by Lucy Lynch, the song She Believes, that ended the show. Now, this chapter doesn't have a song, but if Sue wants to end the show with a Lucy Lynch song, so go out and play, we could do that also. So thank you for everybody being here and sharing your input. And again, these books are available to all classroom teachers in the United States of America from donorschoose.org. Teachers just need a teacher ID to request the books and coloring books and folk manis puppets or a set for their classroom. And we have an ASL fingerspelling alphabet on YouTube. We got so many good things going on. So take it away, Sue.
Okay, and you said it was the Clean Water Foundation video? I'm on my phone, so it's a little different from where I'm sitting here.
Yes, yes.
All right, let me see if I can get this screen share to happen. Give me just a quick second here. And stand by, it's coming. More clicks when I'm on the phone here.
Yes.
So how have you been, Papa John?
You know, it's things are happening, Brian. Yeah, my stories are really starting to gain some traction. I hit 200,000 views on my YouTube channel a week ago.
Oh wow.
Is it going to work, Sue?
That's
I am.
awesome.
There we
That's
go. All right, let me know if you can see and hear.
Well,
Join
I see
us as
Brian.
we celebrate World Water Day with the
There we go.
fourth book in the Acts of Kindness series by Marianne of Waikiki. Meet Robo Motivation, a brave robot.
Almost.
This is not going smoothly. I'm so sorry, guys.
We'll blame it on, your other half.
He's not even standing by me here.
That's right. That's why
If
we
I
can
take
blame
my-
him.
Oh my goodness.
To take my video off, does that make any difference?
No, it shouldn't matter. It's just a little challenging on the phone here. So actually, maybe you want to just go ahead and dive into reading the book today.
All right, here we go. Chapter 3, Water is Life. The next morning, the children awoke to the pitter-patter of rain gently tapping on the roof and the windows of their cabins. They headed first to the orchard to gather fruit for their breakfast, included papaya, banana, mango, coconut. Is it guava?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
lilacayo? Marianne?
Yeah.
Okay. After a yummy tropical fruit salad, they assembled in the pavilion for day number 2. Water is a gift from the universe, and today we will learn about the Earth's hydrological cycle and how rain is created. Greta Thunberg announced, and as she did, an entertaining rain dance around the room. Did you know in the Hawaiian language there are over 200 words for rain? And I'm not going to say them all. She asked, right now the rain, the rain where we are receiving is called Kili Noa, which is a fine light rain. Later it might change to Kili Oa. You're going to get me speaking Hawaiian yet, Marianne. And which is even finer and lighter, something like a mist. Without water, there would be no life on our planet. Water takes care of us, So we must take care of it, Greta said. Today we will learn about the hydrological cycle. Our lesson comes to us through the live video feed from Seattle, Washington, with Captain Leon McLaughlin of the Clean Water Foundation. Let's give Captain Leon a warm aloha welcome. Ikoma Maya, Captain. The children shouted in unison. Captain Leon appeared on the classroom's big TV screen dressed like a naval officer. He wore a navy blue cap together with an impressive matching suit that had yellow stripes on the cuffs. He stood tall and with a big beaming smile from ear to ear, he began to tell them the astonishing story of water. Did you know that the water you drink, breathe, bathe, and swim in is millions and millions of years old? That's because since the beginning of time, there has always been the same amount of water on the planet. The water you drink today could have come from as far away as Asia, South America, Europe, or Africa. That's because water is always on the move. Captain Leon continued, water comes in many forms. It can be liquid, such as oceans, lakes, and rivers and streams, or it can be solid like glaciers, ice, and snow. Water can also be in the form of vapor or steam. Which state water is in depends on which stage of the cycle is it at. Captain Leon pulled out a colorful diagram to show the children the Earth's hydrological system. This is the magnificent moisture map, he said. The children listened attentively as they learned about the four main stages of the water cycle: evaporation, transpiration, condensation, and precipitation. Geez, I'm learning new big words today, Doc. I'm impressed with myself. Evaporation happens when the sun heats up the water in the lake or the ocean and changes it into a gas, Captain Leon explained. Plants can also add water to the Earth's atmosphere by giving us their moisture through their leaves in the process called transpiration, which is something like the process of sweating. The children learned that water vapors and gases travel about 8 miles up into the atmosphere where the temperature is colder, where when enough vapor accumulates, the vapor changes back into a liquid state, forming clouds in the process known as condensation. When the clouds get heavy and are filled up with enough moisture, they produce rain, snow, sleet, or hail. This is called precipitation, Captain Leon explained. Kaya raised his hand. Captain Leon, my name is Kai, and in the language that means ocean, so are you saying that when water from the ocean evaporates, it makes rain? Yes, indeed, Kai, Captain Leon answered. And since there is a limited amount of water on our precious planet, it is important that we conserve it and keep it clean. Yes, does anybody know how we do that? Captain Leon asked. Nalani raised her hand. We have to conserve water at my house because we have a big water catchment tank in our backyard, and only when it rains does the tank fill up with water, she said. So I take short showers and I never let the water run while I am brushing my teeth. Bravo, we all need to do that, Captain Leon responded. We must also keep our water clean. So after lunch, we will go on a field trip to the ocean shoreline to do a bit of cleanup. That afternoon, the children headed to the beach to participate in an ocean cleanup project, picking up trash and debris along the shoreline. They were aghast to see how much plastic litter there was, and they filled many, many, many bags with opala. Opala is the Hawaiian word for trash. After dinner that night, Captain Leon read the children a fascinating book called The Hidden Messages in the Water, written by a Japanese scientist, Dr. Mashiro Emoto. Through extensive research, Dr. Emoto discovered that water is sensitive to human thoughts and emotions. Using high-speed photography, he discovered that crystals formed in frozen water change their shapes and patterns when specific thoughts and emotions are directed towards them. Isn't that interesting? If kind and loving thoughts were directed to the water, beautiful geometric patterns were formed. But when nasty and mean thoughts or words were directed at the frozen crystals, the patterns became distorted and unsightly. What does that tell us? Captain Leon said. That we should be kind to the water, one of the children answered. Right you are, said Captain Leon, and since our own bodies are made up of 60 to 70% water, we must always be loving and kind to ourselves, each other, and the earth as well, so we can create beauty and harmony everywhere we go. It was a full day, and the children were ready for bed, and they all slept. They dreamed about the wonders of water and the world itself. Woohoo! That is chapter 3, folks, of this amazing book called Cool Acts of Kindness.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for reading Santa Papa John. Marianne, what do you have something you want to add to that?
No, I just appreciate you reading that, and you did a good job pronouncing those Hawaiian words. It's guava is one of the fruits, and the other one I'd have to look at it. But yeah, ikobo mai means welcome, and yeah, there's so many different words for rain that I wasn't aware about. And the camp director, her name is Greta Thunderbird. She happens to be a bird folk manist puppets, kind of in honor of Greta Thornburg, who is a young woman over in Europe advocating for climate change, who was also diagnosed with autism, I believe. So, in honor of her, with her climate change activism as a young individual, that's who we name the character. And yeah, and yes, Dr. Emoto, Messages of Water in Japan. We've learned you can go on YouTube and see that. They've done studies where they put the word like taped around a glass that says hate, and they taped around a glass that word that says love, and look at the water crystals. The one that see hate, they are ugly crystallization. When you see love, it's positive, vibrant crystal. So that's the same thing with us being, 90% water. So when you say to somebody, I hate you, that person feels that in their water. And with bullying, it can get really pretty bad. And you got to change your thoughts. You want to have clear, positive thoughts. I want to have a crystal clear vision. Uh, and learn to say when people says something to you like that, you say, cancel, cancel, cancel. I'm not accepting it. And move forward and retrain your brain. So those are all good positive things, and it's a good message about cleaning up the water. Everyone's doing their part. The beach, camp, schools, and learning as much as we can. So it's a good reading, and we are partnering with Dr. Emoto, according to Leon, with this huge project to bundle the books out there. And that's how the story goes. So thank you so much, Santa Papa John. If you want to showcase that cover again, front and back, that would be great. And that's Cool Acts of Kindness. It's co-written with Suzanne Sims, my writer, who I met at Unity Church of Hawaii, who is now in Unity Church Namaste in Ajihi, Mexico. Actually, she'll be singing on Sunday, tomorrow. And we got some thrift store ladies going down. So I said, you need to go visit her. And we have the soundtrack by Lucy Lynch, her little short songs. And again, the vision is to bring them into animation movies, and no one has done it with sign language characters. And we had a great meeting with On the Mark TV, Brennan Williams, who's a sound bath bowl healer, who we've been doing some sound baths in water in my pool out on the ocean with the dolphins, healing this planet and elevating this world. Especially, we did that on World Water Day. We were recognized by the United Nations, and Rajiv was on our show with the United Nations, impressed with our book trailers. So, we are the good news, and we are the messengers. And thank you again for being that messenger, Santa Papa John.
You
Aloha.
are welcome.
I am Marianne of Waikiki.
There we go. And I launched a new set of shorts this morning, new stories. This one was one of the oldest stories that I brought back through Recarnation. Santa goes on vacation to London, England. and I explore some of the different, places in London, England. So that I'm going to reevaluate and bring back that series where Santa goes on vacation to some of these amazing cities that we have around this world of ours.
I love that idea. What a fun way to go. That's very, very cool.
Absolutely. I had a young man who's got a pretty good popular YouTube channel. He decided he found one of my stories and said, "Man, I got to share these. These are pretty awesome." But I mean, that's the power of networking right there. And that's the power of YouTube is, you go searching around for different things, you find something, share it. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't cost you anything. And boy, it can open up your stories, their stories to all different kinds of eyeballs, which is a serious power and development. And who knows where it's going to go. But that's what we need to do when we network and we share other people's ideas and posts.
I love that because you are so right. It takes what? A click or two. What is that? Less than 5 seconds to actually do that and make a difference. So that's an easy thing people can do. If you see something you like, share it. Let your people that you know see it too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you never know who's going to see it.
Well,
right.
And that is such a powerful statement right there, Doc, because, we don't know who's on the other side of the screen. And the other side of the screen might say, "Hey, I like what this person's doing. I like the way this guy talks. I like the way he's sharing information or she is sharing information." Like Marianne's books, if we all shared it, who knows? It might end up on a director in Hollywood and say, "Hey, I want to make a film about this because it's such an awesome idea." But that's the power of sharing that we need to all do. And like Susan just said, click, 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 and it's done.
Well, I want to share with you too, Santa Papa John. I was on my emails, and the Seed and Spark have filmmaker grants available to persons with disabilities. So we are going to be applying for our first book, Underwater Acts of Kindness, for myself, as I'm hard of hearing, and it's already produced. We could receive up to $5,000 to $25,000 grant. I'm also going to apply for my deaf friend Scott, who is the inspiration of Rabbit Acts of Kindness, No Bully, for another $5,000 to $25,000 opportunity out of San Francisco. And anybody can apply, and you don't have to live in San Francisco, according to them, internationally, but they have a film studio there. So the universe put us with a big power hour meeting with Mr. Mark Bayan with On the Mark TV, who is going to be better than Netflix. So we don't have to pitch it anymore. We're approved. And Brennan Williams was approved to be part of the family by Mark Bayan. So we got some book trailers to work on for him. We need to connect with the Folk Manus puppet companies to see if we can do this. And Brennan has a background in accounting, nonprofits, and had a real good talk with Mark. They both have the good vibes with each other in this project. So we have some things to do. And if we do receive these grants, it would be in October. And we'll be talking to other nonprofits that Mark know to acquire this animation movie funding. So let's just hope that Folk Manus will go along with it, because it couldn't get any better. And yeah, so it is. So a little bit of pressure off of me, so to speak, or I want to say the manifestation, but it's a lot of work to create those trailers and working with my Fiverr graphic team in the middle of the night in Pakistan. And, what they're going through over there on the other side of the world is not pretty at all. And we have 500 million people worldwide with a hearing loss. And now we have millions of moms and dads coming home from being of service who can't hear their own children or grandchildren. So just imagine all those people losing their hearing on the other side of the world. So prayers worldwide of peace, love, happiness, and thank you.
Excellent.
Amen.
Well, with you. We are coming up at the end of our time together here, but I do want to just take a quick moment and go around the room for some final thoughts. And I want you guys all know how much I appreciate each of you for being here and all the contributions. What an amazing conversation we've had here today. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. So Santa Papa John, I want to go ahead and start with you.
Hey, just going to emphasize how I started earlier on. Share when you find something that you like and you find a video, share it because you never know what the opportunity is going to be on the other side. You know, I stress in my daily videos every day. We all need to walk the walk. We all need to step on the steps and open those doors and knock on those doors because we never know what's on the other side of that door.
Excellent. And where can people find you?
SantaPapaJohn.com, Santa Papa John on about 10 different platforms every day. And I share happiness because joy has no seasons.
Oh, I love that. Awesome. Thank you so much. Marianne, final thought from you?
I guess not.
All right, Dr. Harvey, I want to pass it to you.
Oh, no, I'm here.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
here. I didn't see the microphone here. We want to give a shout out to all our sponsors, such as World of Ability Network, Kurt and Sue Roskopf, Emily, podcast engineer, founded through Joyce Doyen, the Disability Channel, out of Toronto, Canada. And I just want to highlight something I came across this week also, too, about sharing those stories, Santa Papa John. There's a big TikToker out there in Canada, and he's promoting cool is kindness. And I reached out to Jay Stoyan in a long letter, and Kurt Roskopf too, that it would be awesome to get in contact with him. To kind of, he's doing amazing things like giving laptops to people, walking into a library, giving laptops to students, helping persons with disabilities. So the Awesome Grant Foundation Award gives $1,000 away every month. There's different chapters. I won the Honolulu chapter a year and a half ago. We gifted the Hawaii School for the Deaf and Blind a water unit value of $150. Plus, it was October was anti-bullying month, and we gave them the books Rabbit Acts of Kindness, No Bully. We had a Zoom meeting with Leon being present on campus, giving the water unit to the deaf principal with the sign language interpreters. So that was a huge production. And also half of that grant, we hired Jay Stoyan, the Disability Channel, to interview me for several months about the Acts of Kindness series. Now, I'm putting that out there because I emailed Jay and said, hey, you can apply for $1,000 in Toronto. Awesome Grant Foundation Toronto gives $1,000. Wouldn't it be cool if we could win that $1,000 and get lots of cool acts of kindness books for this TikToker to give these books out to the disability community in Canada? Everybody wins. So I'm putting that message out there to the universe, to everybody. And thank you, Jay Stoyan and Kurt Roskopf and Sue and Emily again. Also to On the Mark TV and Dr. Anthony Cirilli with Nonprofit TV, who is showcasing these book trailers in Denny's restaurants. So what a dream come true for this team to do that, to see my vision and the mission to make that impact again with 500 million people worldwide with a hearing loss and millions of moms and dads being of service. And we support the veterans and nonprofit veterans and Spirit of the Games and Pay It Forward with Zach Clayton. All these people come together, and we couldn't do it without you, the World of Ability. So thank you so much. Aloha, Marianne of Waikiki.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Marianne. We appreciate you so very much. Dr. Harvey, I want to pass it to you next.
I just want to say that we should keep doing all that we can because we got to come together if we're going to save this world. The world is it for all of us, and it is really toxic. We all have to come together and think good thoughts and put good things out in the universe. That's it.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Harvey. And Brian, I'll pass it to you for final thoughts.
Have fun. I mean, what else are you going to do? I mean, you could sit around and be miserable, or go out and have fun. If you want to, if you like racing cars to have fun, do that. If you like dancing, I love dancing. Go do that. If you want to listen to music, do that. Have fun. Just do something to have fun.
I love that. Those truly are words to live by. You got to go out and enjoy what you're doing. Have fun with it. I love that. and actually kind of screams it right behind you. I totally love that. And it goes, yeah, Marianne's catchphrase all the time is, so go out and play. So it totally fits in her narrative right there too. You guys are amazing. This is the World of Ability Podcast Network. My name is Sue Roskopf. We are here every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. Central, showcasing amazing people doing wonderful things and sharing. And I like that word for today, share. Share out where you can, do what you can for others, and be that difference. I absolutely love that. You guys are wonderful. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, as always.